First of all, I started off by washing my hands and preheating the oven. Then I greased and lined my baking tins. I measured out a pound of sugar into the mixing bowl and a pound of baking spread. I then mixed them together until they were pale, light and fluffy. I then added a pound in weight of eggs and a pound of self-raising flour that I sifted into the bowl. I turned the mixer on too fast and the flour went everywhere. I scraped down the edge to make sure everything was mixed properly before adding the vanilla essence and the hundreds and thousands and giving it one last mix together. To make sure there's the same amount of cake batter in each tin, I weighed out 1 pound and 4 ounces into each one. I then baked them until they were cooked. I allowed them to cool and then I wrapped them up and put them in the fridge overnight. To make the buttercream, I had to beat the butter together until it was pale and fluffy. I then slowly added the icing sugar, making sure each part was mixed before adding more, and then added the vanilla essence. To assemble the cake, I made sure I had everything ready that I needed. I started off by putting a blob of buttercream on the cake board to hold the first cake. I used greaseproof paper to keep the cake board nice and clean. I piped a border of buttercream on the first layer of the cake to stop the jam from escaping. I then filled the middle with jam and spread it out evenly. More buttercream was added to the underside of the next layer of the cake, and a warm palette knife was used to spread it out. The middle layer of the cake got put in place and made sure it was even. The same process was repeated for the top layer before the edges were smoothed out, and more buttercream was used to create a crumb coat. A crumb coat is used to make sure that the cake can be decorated neatly. The cake then got put in the fridge for the buttercream to harden. Another batch of buttercream was made before piping a thin layer around the outside of the cake and smoothing it off. This took a lot of time. Handfuls of hundreds and thousands were pushed into the side of the cake. I then used a pastry brush to get rid of the excess. I melted a special kind of chocolate in the microwave before I piped drips around the outside of the cake. I then filled in the middle and smoothed it off. Using a stencil, I sprayed on a happy birthday message before piping a border around the outside of the cake and topping it with more hundreds and thousands.